in which the whole Chosen One prophecy. I'm really tired of the prequels, sorry. I don't hate the prequels. They are what they are. Hi, and welcome to Digital Spy, where we're digging deep into all the unanswered and now sort of answered questions left after Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. If you haven't seen the movie yet, go to our spoiler-free review and watch the movie, because it's been out in cinemas a while now. All right, I'm Gabriella. Here we go. What did Finn want to tell Rey? So, if you remember, there's a big bit on the planet Pisana, and they're running from the stormtroopers who can fly now, it was in the trailer, and they manage to escape the stormtroopers and land in what is soon revealed to be a big quicksand pit. And as they're all plummeting to their deaths, presumably, Finn calls out Rey's name. He's about to tell her something, and then they get sucked into the sand. So everyone wanted to know what Finn was going to tell Rey. It was not cleared up throughout the movie, but at an Academy screening of Rise of Skywalker, J.J. Abrams, director and writer, revealed that Finn wanted to tell Rey that he was Force sensitive. Yeah, that's it. I don't buy it. I feel like if I knew that was my last breath and I was with this person who, like, you know, we've got a connection, maybe it's romantic, maybe it's not, it's ambiguous, who knows, would those be my last words? Probably not. I feel like even if Finn wasn't romantically in love with Rey, that's the moment where, like, you might think you were because you're dying. Like, you might be like, I love you, goodbye, see you later, something more, I don't know. Anyway, I didn't buy it. John Boyega did tweet that he was not, or Finn was not going to tell Rey he loved her. So I guess we have to put some faith in that, but I still don't buy the whole Force sensitive thing. I don't know. Don't buy it. How did Palpatine come back? All hail Poe Dameron, king of the one-liners. This might have been one of my favorite moments in this hit and miss movie, is when Poe is explaining to all the Resistance leaders how Palpatine, surprise, is now the baddie that they're facing. You know, you think you're gonna get, like, the explanation. We've all been waiting. We heard his laugh in the trailer. Palpatine has returned, and Poe turns to his fellow Resistance fighters and says, somehow Palpatine came back. That was the explanation that we got in Rise of Skywalker. Thank you, J.J. Abrams.
Well, don't say it like that.
Sorry, no shade. You know, it left us with a lot of feelings, I will say that. But luckily, thank you, Visual Dictionary was published, and it began to fill in some of those gaps that were left out in the film. And one of them was actually how Palpatine was resurrected. And it turns out he was brought back to life by a sect of Sith followers called the Sith Eternal. We had not heard of them either. Essentially, they're, like, super devoted to Palpatine, and they went to Exegol, and using their powers of technology and the occult. I'll wait for you to tell me what those are, because we're still equally vague on that. Anyway, they used their powers of technology and the occult to resurrect Palpatine. They also used these powers to get the fleet of Star Destroyers. Equally vaguely, they managed to smuggle some parts in and had people who could build the ships. It seemed like a lot of work to be done without really kind of any timeline explanation. I don't know. It's all still a bit confusing. Why is BB-8 now with Rey? So one of the things that we learned fairly early on, like Force Awakens early on, is that BB-8 and Poe have the bond to end all bonds. I mean, that scene in The Force Awakens where Poe is reunited with him and he hugs him and he rubs his little belly. It was so cute. Obviously, they're very connected. And yet, fast forward to The Rise of Skywalker, and at the end of everything, when we're all celebrating and it's all gravy, Rey goes off with BB-8, which confused me a little bit, not because BB-8 wouldn't want to go with Rey, because she's cool, and, like, you get to go to Tatooine and play around in the sand, but I was really confused as to why BB-8 didn't want to stick around with Poe. Maybe they had a falling out, I don't know. We still don't know. We were left with Rey Skywalker on Tatooine with BB-8, looking out at the twin suns, and that's it. Who knows if BB-8 and Poe will ever see each other again. When did Luke go on a mission with Lando? So a big part of Rise of Skywalker was Rey and the Resistance, her friends, trying to find these wayfinders, which would bring them to Palpatine, because obviously Palpatine is back, as we mentioned. And in the course of looking for this wayfinder, they wind up on this planet called Pasana, where there's this big kind of festival going on. And they get to Pasana, and lo and behold, the stormtroopers are after them. And as they're trying to escape, they are helped by a mysterious man in this kind of like rundown, rickety-looking ship thing. And it turns out to be none other than Lando Calrissian, who we all knew was going to be in this movie, but still his entrance was monumental and we loved it. That being said, Lando meets Rey and the rest of the crew and explains to them that he's on Pasana because he and Luke were also looking for this wayfinder, and they got stranded on Pasana. Something happened. He's a bit vague, as it was a lot of this movie. Just kind of glossed over. They went looking for it. We don't know when. We don't know why. We don't really know what happened that they separated. Why did Lando stay on Pasana? None of this is really cleared up. We did some research, and there's a bunch of canon novels that exist outside of the stuff that we see on the screen. And in those novels, there are these rumors that when Ben was born, Ben Solo, 5 ABY, Luke went to visit him and then went off on some mysterious journey. So we think that maybe that time frame is when he went looking with Lando for this wayfinder. But again, we don't really know that for sure. The Star Wars timeline is massive, and there's a lot that happens. So we'll take your suggestions. No, we won't. Yes, we will. Who are JANNAH'S parents? At the end of the movie, obviously everyone's really happy because the good rebels have won, and Palpatine is dead, and peace will reign over the galaxy forever. We assume. I mean, they said there's no more Skywalker Saga. That doesn't mean there won't be things that happen later. Anyway, at the end, when everyone's celebrating, Jannah, newcomer to the Resistance, approaches Lando Calrissian, and she asks him where he's from, and he reluctantly, kind of begrudgingly answers her. And then he returns the question. He asks Jannah, where are you from? And she says, I don't know. And Lando looks at her and says, well, let's find out. Now, everyone kind of took this to mean they were going to go on some journey together to find Jannah's parents. Other people took it to mean that Lando might be her father. There is this whole history of Lando having had a daughter who was kidnapped by the First Order and made into a stormtrooper. So, it's technically possible, but to do that would be really problematic and also would shrink the Star Wars universe even more than it already has been, because Rey is also a Palpatine and everything's connected. And sometimes it's nice to just have people who are their own individual people without having to be tied to any kind of family legacy. Power of the people. Anyway, we still don't know who Jannah's parents are. Maybe that'll be answered. Maybe there'll be a spin-off. That would be great. A Jannah Lando spin-off where they go searching for her parents. I would watch that. How did Maz get Luke's lightsaber? So Luke's lightsaber has been traversing the galaxy of its own accord. I don't know how Maz got it. I don't know that anyone does. You would think that we might get an answer to that in this, because J.J. Abrams is the one who introduced Maz as the owner of Luke's, or at least the keeper of Luke's lightsaber in The Force Awakens. That being said, The Rise of Skywalker had a lot to accomplish, and I don't necessarily think that, whether it was forgotten or not, that loose end was really a priority to tie up, so we still don't know. Cue the fan fiction. Was there really a chosen one? So we're journeying back to the prequels, in which a lot was introduced into the Star Wars canon that in different ways was picked up or was kind of left alone. And one of the things that we didn't get much clarity on was the chosen one prophecy. That there would be a chosen one who would bring balance to the Force and yada yada yada, peace, love, prosperity. Many believe that Anakin was that chosen one. And then when he went on his path to become Darth Vader, that kind of was proven to be untrue. And then some people believe that actually he did prove himself to be the chosen one, because as Darth Vader, he sacrifices himself, killing the good Anakin and the bad Darth Vader at the same time in an act of good. But really, that doesn't make much sense, because it didn't bring balance to the Force, as we know, because Palpatine came back. So, the chosen one, we're kind of leaving it alone. And part of the reason that it's actually good that this question still remains unanswered is that it also brings up another really, really icky plot point that may or may not be true. It's kind of debated as whether it's canon or not, which is that Darth Plagueis, manipulated the midichlorians in Shmi's womb so that she would give birth to Anakin, which is non-consensual forced pregnancy, and that is real up. So we're really glad that this was left alone because we do not want to get involved in that shenanigans because it is bad. Where the is Baby Yoda? We don't know where Baby Yoda is. Before you get all pedantic with us, we know his name is not Baby Yoda, it's the child. But yeah, he's Baby Yoda and he's so cute and so powerful. He's probably off with Mando somewhere, just chilling. I don't know. Anyway, he's not in Rise of Skywalker, but there's plenty of other cute things to keep you company.
Bobby Frick, can you help us with this?
So those were all the questions we had. If there's any that you had we didn't ask, feel free to leave them in the comments. And if you like what you saw, don't forget to subscribe to the channel below for more of our video content. Thank you for watching. Bye.